Well, that's it, folks. It's done. It's time to pack it up. The Switch 2, it's over. Nintendo's forgotten about it. They don't care about it. So why should I care about it? They're not putting out games for this thing. This all stinks and it sucks and it smells. So strap in and strap on because this is the end of Nintendo. Well, at least that's been some people's sort of mantra, obviously a little bit exaggerated, over the past 24, 48 hours or so when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2. There seems to be a growing thought process online that the system is kind of a bit dry as far as a brand new system is concerned, especially when you compare it to previous Nintendo platforms, and people are kind of wondering, well, where are the bigger titles for the Switch 2? Now, some of this, of course, was spurred on by my good friend Wood from Beat 'em Ups Wood, who made a video talking yesterday about his Nintendo Switch 2 experience, and that's his experience. You can't say that he's right or wrong, or that, you know, it's a wrong way to think about things, because it's his opinion. It's how he views things. And I think that he made a lot of very good points within his video as to why he just kind of feels a bit bored with his Switch 2 system. Now, of course, you have other people coming along trying to do similar styles of videos because they see a bigger content creator finally talking about it. Is it how they truly feel, or are they trying to ride a wave? Who's really to say? But at the end of the day, it's everyone's opinions on it. It's how everyone kind of views things. And oddly enough, I kind of was the same way with this. You might remember when we learned about kind of the spring lineup of the Nintendo Switch 2 when it came to first-party Nintendo titles, I made a video talking about the infograph that they put out, and I was like, hey, aside from like Mario Tennis and, you know, some other games that don't really have a release window, I'm not really interested in any of this stuff. I don't care about Super Mario Brothers Wonder Gullah Gullah Island Bellevue Park or whatever it is DLC. I'm fine on that game. I played it, I beat it, I had my fun. I'm ready for something else, not a tacked on multiplayer experience that's going to cost me $20. Pokopia is my own personal hell. And I watched some of the Pokopia Treehouse presentation yesterday, and I just thought to myself, if I want to play a game like this, I'll play something that actually looks good like Dragon Quest Builders does, because this just looks terrible to me from a graphical perspective. And if I don't like the way a game looks, it's kind of hard for me to care about the game as a whole, especially when it's got a very minimalistic art style, and I'm not the biggest Pokemon fan in the world. You've got the Yoshi game coming out that, I don't know, it doesn't look very appealing to me. Fire Emblem looks cool, but who knows when that's coming out. But there's definitely a large gaping hole. I can't even say that. A large gaping hole when you look at the Nintendo Switch 2 library as far as larger titles are concerned. Where is like a new Zelda? Where is like a 3D Mario? Where is something that really kind of captivates the essence of the system and starts to push the system from a first-party perspective? Like I've said a million times before on this channel, it's obvious that most of the Switch 1 games that are, or Switch 2 games that are coming to us from Nintendo have Switch 1 DNA. You know, there's nothing exactly reinventing the wheel. Donkey Kong Bonanza was a Switch 1 game. Mario Kart World is Mario Kart. Kind of weird that there hasn't been any content updates for that quite yet. But when you look at the overall library, everything has DNA attached to a Switch 1 version of a game, whether that actually exists or was just moved over to the Switch 2. Now, that does mean that you do have a large quantity of titles, but not every title is for every individual person. A game like Pokopia, a game like Kirby Air Riders, those games don't really appeal to me, and I tried to play Kirby Air Riders, and it just wasn't for me. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the hype and hoopla attached to it. It just wasn't something that was very enjoyable to me. Of course, you had Metroid Prime 4, which was fine, but I mean, it was kind of a disappointment overall, especially comparative to other Metroid Prime entries, and it just felt very safe. After such a long development cycle for the game, I think people expected a little bit more pizzazz and flair with it. But what you got was a standard Metroid Prime experience with some additional things added into it that, I don't know, was kind of hit or miss for people with NPC characters. And then most importantly, it just kind of got boring. Who thought the desert thing was a good idea? And all that sort of stuff. They probably, I'm not saying they should be fired, but they should probably have a very, very stern talking to. There's just been a lot of softer titles, more mediocre titles when it comes to the Switch 2, and there's not really any sort of big tentpole games beyond what we got with Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza that really makes people excited for the first-party output of the system. And so I completely agree with anyone who says, I'm kind of a little bit bored. I'm not really playing my Switch 2 all that much. But on the other hand, you kind of got to look at modern gaming in and of itself. Because it's very easy to sit here and compare the first year of the Nintendo Switch 2 to the first year of the Nintendo Switch 1, where you had games like Splatoon 2, Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like, Nintendo was firing on all cylinders that first year with the Switch 1. But there was a reason for that. And I think it's something that people kind of forget about, is that there were no third-party games for the Switch 1. People were avoiding that like the plague, putting games onto the Switch 1 that were third-party games. So in order to have games for the system, you kind of had to have those big, heavy-hitter games. Whereas with the Switch 2, the third-party output has definitely been a lot higher. So I feel like that's kind of a bit of a compromise that maybe Nintendo knew going into this, because obviously game development cycles are becoming longer and longer, and there are periods where, big companies aren't releasing games. If you look at what was going on with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series, how many years did it take to get a quality output for both of those systems? Honestly speaking, 2026 is looking to be one of the stronger years for the PlayStation 5 when it comes to exclusive titles. We know that Marathon is coming out. I'm not sold on that. Saros, Wolverine, Kenna, this is a very good year for them. But I didn't turn my PlayStation 5 on for all of 2025. There was nothing I wanted to play on it. There was no exclusive games that I was like, I need to play this on my PlayStation 5. Xbox, kind of a similar situation. 2026 does look like a very good year for them. You've got Forza Horizon 6, which I will be, diving in. I can't wait for that. You got Fable, you got Halo, you got Gears of War E-Day. An extremely strong year. But what about the past, what about 2021, 2022, 2023? At least with Nintendo, you're still getting a strong output of games. It's just whether or not those games appeal to you. And a lot of these games don't appeal to me. I think Mario Tennis Fever is better than people gave it credit for. I think that's a really fun game, and I'm still playing it, and I'm still having a lot of fun with it. But so far in 2026, I have mostly played third-party games on my Switch 2. I played through Final Fantasy VII Remake again and did the Yuffie stuff for the first time. Had a great time playing it. I played, of course, Grid Legends. Really enjoyed that. Gear Club Unlimited 3. Still having fun doing those highway races. I've got Resident Evil 9 preloaded onto my Nintendo Switch 2 for when it comes out this week. The third-party output has definitely been a lot higher on the Switch 2 than it ever was on the Switch 1. It's just that some people don't like playing third-party games on their Switch 2, and I understand that. They're probably going to look and play better on a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series if you have one of those. But then there's the other side of the coin. People are indeed excited for Mario Wonder Gullah Gullah Island, Bella Bella Park, Bella View Park, whatever. I can't care enough about it to give it a proper name. But there are people that are excited for it. There are people that are thrilled with Pokopia. You go on social media, you look around, these people are so happy. People are now sold on the game and stuff like that from that presentation. Oh, Pokopia, this looks awesome. You know? Like, people like different things. I could sit here and say I have negative interest in both of those things, but I do understand that there is appeal. I do understand that those things are probably going to sell very well. Super Mario Wonder is probably going to get a huge increase in sales because of people buying, you know, the Switch 2 edition or, you know, upgrading or however they, you know, gather that metric for when you do an upgrade path for something. Pokopia is probably going to be one of the hottest selling games of 2026. You know, like, that's just the fact of the matter. I honestly think that if this same, you know, lineup of games was what we had, but you had something to look forward to in the future as far as something like a larger tentpole title. I'm not even necessarily saying it has to be a 3D Mario or it has to be a new Legend of Zelda game. Just something that looks like a big, robust experience instead of something that's more so just kind of like a time filler or something to put out there, you know, so that you have a consistent flow of games. I think if you had that bigger title that people could look at and point to and be like, you know, this is going to be the big future title, I don't think the conversations would be happening all that much. There would still be conversations because nobody's ever fully satisfied with stuff. But I feel like if there was sort of that carrot at the end of the stick to look forward to, that you wouldn't quite see it, you know, talked about as much. It's just, I mean, it really boils down to some people are just bored. And if you're not playing third-party games on your Switch 2, then yeah, you're probably pretty damn bored if you don't like tennis or Pokopia. Like, what are you playing? What are you looking forward to? You're gonna play Xenoblade Chronicles X again? Like, that's got the weird filter issue and stuff like that. Me personally, you know what I just played? Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3. I did Metal Gear Solid 1. Beat it with the new HD filter. I did Metal Gear Solid 2. Beat it. I did Metal Gear Solid 3, a no-kill run. And got the pigeon rank. Really enjoyed that. Like, I've been enjoying that on my Switch, too, because it's nice now. You know, they Konami put in time and effort into it and made it a better game. It's just kind of finding that game. And obviously Resident Evil 9, like, I'm super stoked for that. So, I don't know. I don't think anyone is necessarily wrong. If you're bored with your Switch 2, you're bored with your Switch 2. Like, that's just the fact of the matter here. Like, you're bored with it. You're looking for something else because these games don't appeal to you. If you're loving your Nintendo Switch 2, then you're loving it. You know, you enjoy Pokopia. You enjoyed Metroid Prime 4 and Kirby Air Riders more than the average person did, and that's fine. But really, at the end of the day, like, it just boils down to people's preferences. The first party output for me, really since Bonanza, has been subpar. But I've been, you know, supplementing that with some really interesting third-party games, and I've been having fun with it. Plus, I own other systems, so I can play stuff on my PlayStation 5 and my Xbox Series. Welcome to modern gaming, folks. Games take longer now. Budgets are higher now. The industry is crippling and buckling at the knees. But everything's fine. There's no gaming crash. No. Everything's fine with prices going up and RAM prices and all this, right? Everything is fine. Jeez Louise. I do think it's funny, though, that, like, when that 3D Mario drops, like, the first trailer, and then people learn that it's $80, because that's something that Nintendo fans have definitely forgotten about, is the $80 first-party brand new game that we got with Mario Kart World. Oh, man, that's going to be a fun fun time online that day. But these are just essentially my thoughts on it. If you completely disagree with me, that's fine. I don't care. It's just opinions at the end of the day. If you think the system sucks, you think it sucks. That's awesome. You think it's the best thing ever? Hey, that's cool too. I don't really care. I could see why people are bored with it. I'm kind of bored with some of the first-party games as well, but I do hope that sooner rather than later, we do learn about some more. Give me your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. But not the Bella Bell Park. Don't hit the Bella Bell Park. That's just weird. All right, later.